And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. With me today, I have my good friend Creighton Hobbs, director, independent film director. Say hello to everybody.
Hi, everybody, and thanks for having me on the show.
You're very welcome. It's always good to have you, man. It's a pleasure to have you. And, for tonight's episode, we're actually going to be doing The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. This movie is actually not directed by James Wan this time. This movie is directed by somebody else. And the whole reason why James Wan didn't do this one or anything like that is because he's attached to direct his own horror film and everything. So there's like a little underground project. Not that many people know what this other film's about or anything like that. It's been hushed for a while now on what this film's about. But as far as this film goes and everything, this movie centers around the Warrens once again. But the plot is a little bit different this time. This time the plot is basically the Warrens doing an investigation and with the paranormal and trying to claim somebody's innocence this time. And basically the person saying that the devil made him do it. And so, I was intrigued whenever I first heard this because they were getting away from the whole entire haunted house aspect of it and trying to do something different. But there's a difference between doing it from the pages that you see, comparing it to how it will look on the screen, on how it actually would be. As a matter of fact, this film feels like a spin-off movie rather than a Conjuring movie.
Yeah.
Because of the tones that are different and stuff like that. Now, here's the thing, guys. I'm not a big fan of the spin-off films or anything like that. Now, when it comes down to the Conjuring movies themselves, I love those.
Yeah.
But what about you, though? I mean, what do you think about some of the Conjuring stuff and things like that? I know that we reviewed part one.
Now, I loved part one and I loved part two. And when I saw part three, I noticed they were taking a different kind of like direction, if you will. Just from somebody who makes movies and stuff, I could see where the studio was saying, okay, we tried this route. Let's give the people something different and see how they react. And I like the new flavoring of it because you can't just give people the same old spoon feed them the same old because it's kind of like
because repetitive.
It's like when you're eating it's like when you're in the hospital and the only dessert you get is chocolate pudding. And it's like after about 2 nights, you're like, I'm ready to go home. I'm sick of this, So, so the studios and somebody that makes movies, you're like, let's give them something they haven't seen, and let's see what kind of reactions we could get from people. I appreciate it, but I'm one of those that's like, if you throw me something so totally new, I'm either going to fall in love with it right after I watch it, or it's going to be, I need to watch it 2 or 3 more times before I say I love you. It's kind of like going out on a date. I need about 3 dates, and then I might say the 3-letter word. Just depends on how good the dates are, But
right.
So that's just me, me personally. So
okay, well, let's see here. I love the opening scene with the possession.
Yeah,
to me that alone
awesome.
hooks you right in there. To be honest with you, and then I was like, okay, if this is what they're giving us, I'm sucked in. I'm already gonna love it because it does feel like that James Wan flavor that we normally get from a Conjuring universe, right?
Right.
So I was sucked into that part. It also feels like The Exorcist, the old classic 1980s Exorcist type movie,
like when
with the position.
Yeah, the priest first walked up to the house. I was like, "This is The Exorcist." I was like, because I was terrified of The Exorcist as a kid, So I was like,
but exactly, man, exactly. But tell me what else. I mean, I know there's also another scene. I'm going to get into one more scene, and I'll give you your thoughts on this. But I love the part where we don't see what's actually going on. We see like these claw marks on the wall, like a very Freddy Krueger kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm like, okay, what is going on here
Hmm.
and everything.
Yeah.
And what did you think about that and everything
Oh,
else within?
to me, what I really enjoy about this movie is where they they give you the story, but they're like they're not going to tell you by words. Like when you first go into that house, I don't know if you remember, and you saw the chandelier broken, and you saw all kind of stuff, and then it done that like at the Warrens' house, near kind of the end of it,
Yeah,
like when Warren was, I guess, first becoming possessed or something, or getting there or
yeah,
whatever. He was like, she's in her house. But they gave little clues and little things about it's like, oh, somebody was in there, you know what I mean? And so I really enjoyed that thought provoking part of the movie. My hat's off to him for that. Sure. That's what I enjoyed.
same here. To be honest with you, I definitely love the opening scene of it, and then also too the kid. We're thinking the kid is actually grabbing the walls and everything, but if you look close enough, though, he's not even touching the wall.
He's not. Yeah.
It's like think of it as like Peter Pan with the shadow. Basically, the
Yeah.
possession is the shadow, and
Yeah.
the possession is actually scraping the wall with those claw
Yeah.
marks,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So I definitely appreciated the opening sequence. Everything that
So
was
did
very
I. That
right.
was just that made to me that was almost, I would say, yeah, it was to me honestly better than the ending.
Yeah, most definitely. But then after that, it winds up going downhill to the point where I have to
Yeah.
say that it struggles on what this movie wants to be
Hmm.
and everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't know its own identity. It becomes
Hmm.
confusing, not confusing to the viewer, but confusing to this film as to what this
Hmm.
film wants to be, right?
Yeah.
So, that's another factor. And then, I love the fact that it's a mystery type of thing, but at the same time, they could have done the witch stuff if they didn't focus so much on the crime stuff.
Yeah.
They could still have
Hmm.
that possession ability without the crime stuff and still have it based on true events and still have
Yeah.
your case of this kid that's trying to
Mhm.
prove his innocence.
Yeah.
So you could still have it worked in on that way and
Yeah.
everything too.
They should have evened it up a little bit. It seemed like, I don't know where they did it or whatever, but it seemed like somewhere along the way, somebody who was doing this movie was like, let's lean a little bit more towards the creative than, than like the possession and,
It
that
was
kind of thing.
more
You know what I
geared towards
mean?
the visual effects in a sense,
Yeah.
is what you're saying. And
I, to me,
yeah,
yeah.
I do have to agree with you on that, to be honest with you, because it was more geared towards the visual effects a little bit, especially with the stuff that we've seen in the trailers, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Right.
Because it's like, okay, we see his wife in the woods. That's a cool effect, but does
Yeah.
it do anything to amplify the plot? Does it do anything for us? No, it doesn't
Mm-mm.
really do anything for us. But another thing that I liked was the fact that you have this guy named Arnie who winds up
Yeah.
sacrificing his own self to save his brother
Mm-hmm.
and everything. And that's when the possession takes over him.
Mm-hmm.
And the little boy's okay, but it's the love of the brother who sacrifices his own self for his brother, which is
Mm-hmm.
something I was geared towards, something that I really liked. And
Yeah.
then there's that crazy uncle that lives with them and everything later on that we see. But, that's always drunk, putting
Yeah.
on Blondie, Call Me,
Yeah.
and everything. And then also too, we're also dealing with the husband Ned, who's dealing with heart issues now because of that
Yeah.
possession with the kid.
Mm-hmm.
So we're
And
dealing with that.
yeah. And see, and I had kind of a issue on. I mean, I understand he got hurt, but they could have left it with just the heart thing instead of walking around with the
Okay.
cane. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, okay, you got a bum leg and you got a bad ticker. I'm waiting for you, you know. And
Right.
to me, I was like, and I guess that's because I'm older, but it's still, you know, it's like this guy's in bad shape. He shouldn't be doing this for real, you know.
Right. Another thing, though, too, was whenever I saw him in the hospital bed, my first thing was this: how much is this geared towards the both Warrens now? Is he going to be sitting
Yeah,
out this whole entire time in the hospital bed, or is it
yeah,
just going to be primarily focused on his wife trying to solve this murder? But no, it's the both of them again, which is something that I was happy about.
yeah,
It's where they can both motivate the plot along for the
hmm
journey that we're about to go on. So
yeah,
I was happy with that. Instead of
mhm,
sitting him out in the hospital bed and then the wife goes on and does her own thing. But then we were introduced into the world, of course, of Arnie. Arnie's this good guy, down to
yeah.
earth guy, and everything, and then he's possessed, and you can see the possession slowly taking effect. Now that's something I really liked was the
I
slow
like
process
that.
of possession
Hmm
and everything. It wasn't like speed through, so that's something I can actually appreciate with that part,
hmm
you know.
Yeah. It
But
had
then,
that. It seemed
go
like it
ahead.
had a conjuring, the first Conjuring, because she was kind of like that. She didn't just wham bam. You know, it was kind of you saw the gradual build up to the, you know. So I appreciated that build up to Arnie. You know what I mean? That to
Same.
me, I liked it. You know.
Same
Uh,
here as well, to be honest with you. That's why I like that slow build up. And then, of course, you also see him, you know, sweating. Looks like he's being wigged out and everything and stuff
yeah,
like that. He looks like he's like on drugs, but he's not on drugs. He's just possessed.
yeah,
But also too, you have that crazy drunk uncle who's there of the girlfriend's
hmm
brother or whatever, and he
yeah,
wants him to dance with him and stuff like that. You know. And of
yeah.
course, as he's trying to dance to the song Blondie, Call Me, but I love the foreshadowing in that.
You're right. Yeah, I liked how it showed. You could visually tell what was happening. You know what I mean? Like that was very creatively done. Of where,
Exactly.
like, you know, that I was like, I was super. I was like, wow, okay, I can follow this. You know, and
Right, because
then
here's the thing.
yeah,
While that's going on, you have the Warrens trying to call Arnie and
hmm
them, hey, look, there's a position that's being taken place. You guys need to go on ahead and get help immediately. We're on our way. And the song Call Me is on there and no one's picking up. So I thought that was a perfect way of foreshadowing that scene. And then, of
yeah,
course, they call up the cops. The cops wind up seeing Arnie in the blood and everything. At first, I thought he killed the girlfriend and the uncle, crazy
hmm
uncle, because that's my first initial thought. I'm like, okay, why? It would be more interesting if they killed both of them in a sense. But then again, it's based on true events.
yeah. So
So
yeah.
yeah, there goes that idea. But I thought he killed both of them. To be honest with you,
Yeah, so
and
and I think that was a good creative touch. That was a very cliffhanger, Alfred Hitchcocky kind of touch. You saw him, you know, with the blood and stuff, but it's like, who did he kill? And it's like, oh, he killed the uncle guy, you know, the drunk redneck uncle, you know.
right. But yeah, I here's the thing. I love aspects of this film, but as a whole,
The
though,
whole yeah, it just
it's not
didn't.
there.
Yeah, it just
And
it's
we'll
one
get
of
into that in a
those.
few.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
Because here's the
something
thing:
like
as a
that.
reviewer, when a movie's not that great, we try to scratch the surface on what's actually good. And if we're struggling, it's like, yeah, there was a couple of good scenes in there,
I know.
but the opening stuff was really great. Then him getting
Mhm.
arrested and stuff like that, and then the Warrens having to prove his innocence and everything was good. That was a good setup.
Yeah.
Then the execution comes into place. This is where
Mhm.
he has to, now that not only do they have to prove, they already proved it to the church that demonic possession is a true thing. Now they have to try and prove it
Court.
into the court
Yeah.
system, which is 10 times harder than proving it to the church
Yeah.
and everything too. But
Now
I love, go
yeah,
ahead.
did you love that part where they was talking to the lawyer and it's like, how about you meet Annabelle?
And
I
then next thing
love
you
that.
know it,
I was like,
she's in court with them.
yeah, you had that look of like, you know, Oh, that was great. That was classic. That was just that to me. That was like dying. Laughing with it.
Same here as well. But I wish that I could have saw that though. To be honest with you, I wish I could have saw that dinner scene just to see her reaction to Annabelle, because that would have been top notch for me just to see that
Oh,
lawyer just lose her shit for a minute.
yeah.
But it is what it is. The reaction alone, and the next day, and because she says, "I won't represent you unless I know for a fact that there's actually possessions that's actually happening." Next thing you know, it the next morning, and I'm going to be representing Arnie. So,
Yeah. Yeah, he pleads not guilty because of demon possession, and
so she-
why she said it. She saw
exactly,
Annabelle. So I thought that was very well done and placed. You know what I mean? I thought
for
that
sure.
was. I just wish stuff like that would have played out through the rest. You know what I mean? That kind of flow, or I
For
don't know if
sure.
I'm getting it right, but you know what I mean, to where it wouldn't been so, but it been more kind of like that. You know what I mean? More.
More of an even pace kind of thing. Is
A
basically what
little
you're
bit
saying.
more even and gradual. Give me that gradual build to the, to the ultimate.
Right, right. And I feel like this though too. And there's actually another thing though too. They're actually wondering what's causing this possession. Where's this possession happening from? Where is it translated at? Because we know it starts off with a little boy, but
Yeah,
how far back does this thing actually go? Does it go
yeah,
into the haunted house realm? Does it go into this realm? And at first, I thought they were going back into the haunted house type of realm with the boy on the bed, and then you see the creepiest thing was the waterbed scene.
yeah. That was
And
creepy. Yeah.
yeah, that part I liked because I was actually creeped out. They didn't rely on cheap jump scares or anything like that either. Then
Hmm.
again, there's not much to be scared of in this film, if you think about it,
Yeah.
because
Right. Yeah.
because they made this into like a psychological kind of horror
Thriller
aspect to
thing.
it.
Yeah. And yeah, and that's currently kind of what I'm making. So I appreciated it, and I learned a lot, but I learned some
What
things
not to
that's
do.
kind of, yeah, right. I was like, oh God, I cannot make it where it's so like, whoa,
Right. And then we go into the whole entire thing after that where they see where the floor is all messed up and everything from the waterbed. And the girlfriend is thinking that it was because of the fact that with the waterbed being wet, it ruined the floor. And it turns out, no, that's because there's a possession that was being taken place in this room. So then they start looking around, and then they find underneath the house this satanic ritual type of thing, and they're trying to connect it. And as someone that actually watches paranormal stuff, investigations, and stuff like that, like Mosarji, Omar off of YouTube and stuff like that, they go into get this. They wind up accidentally stumbling into some satanic stuff
Hmm.
and everything. And so happens to be this is what the Warren stumbled into was this paranormal satanic ritual.
Yeah.
And so then they're trying to link it up, and then it so happens to be it was linked up to somewhere up in Boston. And
Yeah.
there's also this missing girl that's been missing for a while, and then they have to then now they have to convince the Boston Police Department that there's actually something going on.
Right. It was
But what did you
just,
think of that?
yeah. I mean, I thought it was a nice little twist, but it seemed long, if you will. You know what I mean? It's kind of
It's
like,
enforced.
yeah. I was like, I like the idea of it, but that's just me being a director and creator person. But if they could have, to me, not felt like we're pushing this on you, and more like, hey, here's a new page to this mystery. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
instead of saying, you're going to read this, whether you like it or not,
Right. And that's actually how I felt, though, to be honest with you. I felt like it was forced. It didn't
Yeah,
feel like it was smart at all, to be honest with you. Like, you
right.
know how some scenes try to be too smart than what it's supposed to be?
Yeah.
And this one didn't feel like it was smart at all, to be honest. But
Yeah.
the part that I liked that I laughed at was when his wife winds up finding the knife that killed the little girl and everything, and to convince the cops. And then in the car, because well, there was only a three out of four chance that could have been it, or something
Yeah.
like that. I'm not going for verbatim or anything,
Right.
but then I love the "Caught in the Trap" song being played, and then as I'm thinking of this and everything, I was like, I love the foreshadowing. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, here's Ned's wife. She goes, "I love the song." I'm like, get out of my head.
Yeah.
I'm like, get out of my head, woman. But
And I like that part as well when they were in Boston and they were in the car driving, and he was like, he made the joke about Elvis.
yeah,
Do you remember that part where
yeah,
he
he winds
said,
up saying, "Now, have you ever met Elvis before?"
"Yeah,
And that's when the wife winds up responding back, "Well, do you mean when he died, or do you mean when he was living?"
yeah, uh,
And I could just see the guy going, "Well, maybe both."
yeah." She was like, "I met him once while he was alive, and one after." That was
Right.
great. I was like, "Oh, that's kind of funny to me because Elvis. You know how they always say, Elvis is still alive.
Exactly.
So I think that was just thrown in from a writer's perspective or a director or producer's perspective of they must have seen a bunch of Elvises in Vegas or something, and
Right. And this is not the first time I heard this song being played this year. Get
hmm
this. There's another movie on Netflix that actually had the song.
oh wow,
And
yeah,
it's Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead movie.
that's right, yeah,
So that's
oh
twice in
yeah,
1 year that they use an
hmm
Elvis reference for something that's actually going to be horribly bad.
right, yeah. So I mean, and
But anyways,
but
my question.
yeah, and before we get to this, while I'm thinking about it, the one other thing that I've learned about watching, The Devil Made Me Do It, that as a film director, I will never cast a naked fat guy that's supposed to be dead and chasing after me. That's a no. I just ain't gonna do it.
Oh my god! You mean to tell me you wouldn't cast like a Danny DeVito person chasing after somebody?
Yeah, as long as he kept his clothes on, I'd be fine with it, but not naked like that. I'd be like, man, this is weird.
Yeah, I have to admit that did creep me out as well. To be honest with you, and stuff like that. We'll get to that in a few minutes, though. And we're not going scene by scene. We're just talking about certain scenes that we liked and certain scenes that we
Yeah,
didn't like. We're just having a conversation here.
yeah.
And so, my other question is this. Now, did you think? Remember whenever Ned was like, "Hey, you're passing up the spot where the girl died." Now, my question is this: did you think the cop was trying to turn around to where they go back to the police station,
Mhm.
or did you think that what do you think that was going on there? Because all of a sudden it goes from that, and the next thing you know, they're at the spot that the
Yeah,
girl died. So I'm like,
I yeah, my thoughts on it from being a director and a writer as well. I think that that was intentional. A cop that has doubt, but they're like, let me see if this person's like for real, because the cop knows where they're going, especially on a previous crime scene. But I think it was intentional that he drove past it and he wanted to see if she was going to say,
hmm,
you passed it. So,
okay. Okay, thanks for explaining that to me because I wasn't sure what they were doing as far as that went. So that actually makes sense now. Also,
mhm.
too, I love when cops actually use like uh paranormal investigators to invest in everything in different things. So that's
Mhm.
exactly what this is. If you think about
Yeah,
it, it was like before the
it
day and
is.
age of psychics and stuff like that. This is before that they could actually help people and stuff like that. They were all thinking that they're all flukes, just in there for a buck. With
Yeah.
Warrens, though, they get more than what they bargained for. but But you know, another thing though too is when she's in the woods, you actually see that all of a sudden you see the trees go black. Now this is the part that we were talking about where it's just basically a special effect for no purpose. Well, it's for purpose, but it's a
But
little
it's
too long and drawn out
yeah,
if you
yeah,
think about
yeah, and I wasn't. I mean, I like the special effect. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking it, but it's kind of like because oddly enough, this movie, The History That Haunts Us, that I'm doing, by the way, but is where like if you're gonna have somebody go and to the past or something, just throw in some quick CGI, flicker, like 3 seconds of, or throw in
it.
some
Right.
fog or just do a real quick 1, 2, 3, and you're done. Then you go into your scene, right? To me, it was like, you got this long ass drawn out going from light to dark type thing. And it was kind of like,
We got the
and
fact that she's supposed to be transferred over to that
yeah,
realm and
right.
everything. But still, it didn't be drawn out in that kind of way. Yeah, you could actually still have her showing the stabbing. And I felt
Sure.
like I agree with her husband. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. But I'm like, dude, I was like, look, just stop. Just stop what you're doing because you
Right.
already we get the point. She was stabbed. We can leave it at
Yeah.
that. But then all of a sudden it goes back into her realm of seeing what actually happened again, and she's running through the forest and everything else, and then she's on this cliff,
Yeah.
and then she looks at Ned, and that's when this demon being just grabs her feet from underneath. To me, that wasn't scary. Number one, it was on the trailer, so you already knew it was going to be there.
Yeah. You saw it. Yeah.
So the shock value wasn't there that needed to be there. Unless you're seeing this in a theater and you have those wide shots to actually help you. Maybe that's what it's missing in a sense. But
yeah,
still, I mean, it just fell flat for me. What about you?
right. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like it's always hard when you make a trailer to not spoil the best parts. That's a tricky thing. To make a trailer, but not give out all the goodies. And I think if people wouldn't have seen that beforehand, it would have made a bigger impact. But people who saw the trailer, they were like, and then when they saw it, they were like, I knew that was happening.
Right.
Then, it's like
also too, we're also going into something else though too, because the Nun is connected to it, and then you also have this other film that came out in 2019 that's actually connected with it because of the priest that's in this film and everything. And that's the only thing. There's only two things on why you should watch that movie. It starts with an L. I can't even speak French or anything like that, but it's L. It's the LA something movie or whatever. But basically, there's only two connections. Number one, the priest is in that movie, which is also in this movie. Number two, the same director who directed that movie is directing this movie. So basically, that's the only two connections.
And there was the picture in Warren's office of the nun.
Right. And then also too,
huh? Yeah, it was in his office, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The picture of the nun.
Yeah. The nun was in the office. That was back when they were. That was a little bit later on when he was looking at the flowers.
Yeah.
And then they smashed the vase, and then there's that demonic thing again, the satanic ritual that's in the flower pot, in the vase. But yeah, the nun's in the background, but also too, when she has those visions, when Ed's wife has those visions and everything, and stuff like that, which is Lorraine. When Lorraine has those visions and everything, too, you may actually have a little bit of a flashback of this nun scenery, and stuff like that too. And I haven't seen that movie since it came out, and I actually knew that it was in reference to that. So if you're wondering if you have to see these movies, I recommend
Yeah.
this. You don't actually have to see these movies. You already know that it probably connects to the Nun if you watch the second
Hmm.
Conjuring film.
Yeah. And that's
And
probably
that's
because the director did directed the Nun, so he
well, no. He didn't direct the
wasn't it.
Nun. He there was this
He
other
directed.
movie. Yeah, there was this other movie. I can't, like I said, I can't speak French or anything like that. I'm not very good. I wish
Uh,
Frenchie was here to actually correct me. But anyways, that film was only connected because of the priest and because of the fact that the director
that's right.
directed this movie.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, but
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
um,
I mean,
as far as
and thank God I didn't rent it. I could watch it free on HBO Max. Honest to God, that's what I thought. I mean, I didn't crap on it, but it's like I'm glad I was on HBO Max, and I'm glad I got a chance to watch it. Kind of like watching, like Wonder Woman '84. You know, like threw me with her flying in the air. Like, huh?
right, exactly.
Same kind of
But the
scenario.
name
Like,
right, the name of the movie that I was thinking of, The Curse of La Lorna, I think it's called La
mm-hmm.
Lorna.
Yeah.
That was the one that this same director directed this movie and also had connects in with the
Oh.
priest. So yeah,
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
so
So yeah.
that's here's the thing. That was just gonna drive me crazy if I didn't look into it. But yeah. um. So, anyways, that this whole entire thing. I mean, I feel like I'm scratching the surface sometimes, trying to find something I liked, especially at the very start of the film and that height that we were actually at. But let's go on ahead and we'll dive right into the other stuff though too. Like we
Sure.
mentioned, I'm skipping some other stuff around and everything too, but that's okay. But there's actually another thing too, where we see visions of this demonic person doing this to this kid Arnie and everything too. So you have a Satanist doing this stuff, and you actually see it through the vision of Ned's wife, which
Yeah.
is Lorraine. Now, what did you think of that stuff, where you actually have someone that's actually being possessed by this satanic person, and it's being taken over into this person's body? Did you like that aspect of it?
Nah, not wrong. I'm going to be honest with you because it was too. It felt like too much info. Yeah, it felt like just too much, and it was like I understand about wanting to go deep into your story. Sure, everybody does who makes movies or writes or has creative, but there's a time where you got to say keep it simple. Sometimes
Right.
simplicity is the best take. It really is. It's like, um, it's sometimes it's more creepier just to be in a dark place and you can barely see anything and you hear a door, you know, you know,
Right.
and you're like, and there's no music, that's making you feel that way, or something. It's just
Which is
like,
why we love these movies in the first
right.
place. And that's
And
something else I want to talk about too. There was a lot of scenes where they didn't have any music,
mhm,
but then they also
yeah.
amplified it with music later on. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
It was kind
okay,
of bipolarish,
right, exactly. And also too, I also felt like the film was too quick paced. It
Yeah.
was too quick to finish what it needed to do. Because here's the thing: the James Wan, you can definitely tell when he's directing versus other people, because you have that slow build, you have that slow tension. Then once that
Mhm.
slow tension is built, then you release it into the second half of your film to where everything is colliding at one time, to where you actually feel afraid for these people. Not saying I didn't feel afraid for this character
Sure.
Arnie, but I would actually felt more scared for him if they took their time to let it build a lot more and
Yeah.
everything too. To be honest,
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I mean, like, Arnie was good, as in, the build up, but, and I like how how they all at one time was getting possessed. You know, Warren and Arnie or Ernie or
Right.
yeah, that guy. You know, the dude in jail. You know, yeah,
Right. Arnie. Yeah. Arnie was the
yeah,
guy in
Arnie.
jail.
And but it was kind of like, you know, I thought there were supposed to be three people that was getting possessed.
Okay. There
What?
was. There was three people.
Mm-hmm.
It was the kid from the very beginning, which is Arnie's brother, that
Yeah,
got possessed, and it passed through to Arnie.
yeah,
And then it was the husband. It was Ed that
yeah.
got possessed. Because remember, to me, this had a very
Okay.
Shining type of moment, though, with the
Yeah.
sledgehammer. Felt like the
Mm-hmm.
Shining to me when Jack Nichols is
Yeah.
being possessed.
Yeah.
So this is me thinking. I'm like, so now we're going with slasher horror mixed in with the paranormal realm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like now that's where I'm talking
It's
about where it didn't know its own identity, where it became too
exactly.
convoluted.
And see, I agree 100%. If you know, if and it's hard to change up. It's kind of like Star Wars, right? If you're going to go say, I'm going to watch Star Wars, you're going to be in outer space or some weird planet seeing things fight. You know, that's what it is, right? But then
Right.
if you all of a sudden throw in some kind of weird, unusual love story between a Wookiee and Princess Leia, you know, and they're like some big weird love story that had a subspecies of some sort. You know, it don't fit. It's kind of
No.
like what? I've just confused everybody that watches the show. They're like, he's got a deep sick mind, you know. But
Right.
yeah, but like what I'm getting at is it's just like you said, it was kind of mixed up. You know, it's like it was like this and this and this, and it just should have been that,
Right.
you know.
I would have been, to be honest with you, they didn't have to do the haunted house realm with this
Right.
film, and they didn't. They made it clear,
Sure.
and it
Yeah.
was a clear understanding on paper and also in the news reports that I read. And they
Hmm.
followed up on that. Kudos to them
Yeah.
for following that up. They did. They said exactly what they were going to do. But to me, you can have the possession, like I said, without the satanic stuff,
Yeah.
without the ritual. You could still have him doing all this other stuff in the insane asylum and everything too,
Hmm.
in the psychiatric place where he has the knife to his throat and this
Yeah.
other stuff that's happening. You could still have that without the satanic ritual that you're trying to do.
Yeah. And that's another thing too that kind of, you know what my exact thought was?
What's that?
Uh, you ever heard, and I don't know if anybody else has or not, but it's kind of like, oh, the butler did it. You know,
Right, from Clue.
yeah, you know, oh, really?
Right.
The butler did it? You know, it's like that old attache of writing that was taking
Mm-hmm.
place long ago. You know, the butler always did it. You knew.
Right.
So to
Oh, it was
me,
Professor Plum with the
yeah,
candlestick.
yeah, you know, and it was like, oh, okay, it's one of those. This is when I figured it showed it was his daughter. You know,
Right.
that
Another thing, though,
preacher's.
too, I want to get to that too. And I know I didn't mention this whenever the Warrens go up to the priest and everything, questioning where the satanic thing came from or anything like that. He goes, "Yeah, I've seen this before," but I'm like, okay, he's hiding something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
right there, paint by numbers, that he's hiding something.
Yeah.
And then
Mm-hmm.
also too, I was also wondering, is his daughter alive? Is she dead? Because it doesn't. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't making me feel like, is it part of reality or is it part of paranormal? What's the deal here?
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because
Yeah.
and then also too, they do this cheap little thing where she blows some dust into Ed's eyes, and he's blind. Now he's possessed, and now all of a sudden he's Jack Nicholson from The Shining with the sledgehammer.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't. What did she blow in his eyes? That's what I want to know.
I don't have a clue, but
Nobody will ever know.
possession dust? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Got it off the Harry Potter special website, you know, and it's like
special made from WB
yeah.
Studios. but but you know, I mean, come on, give us something that's simplistic, like you said.
Yeah. I
Keep us
mean,
simple. Don't try to explain too much or anything
I
like that.
mean,
And then you mean to tell me all he had to do was smash the stupid satanic
that's what
cable?
I was like, that's it, you know. I mean, wow. But I was like, God bless, you know. I don't even weigh $125, but I would have found something to throw on it, you know. I mean,
Exactly. And then we realized that the girl is also human
yeah,
because
that's what.
that's the only time that they actually explain that the girl is actually human.
And I mean, I'm going to tell you, if it wasn't for that actor saying that, who played Warren, saying, you know, the demon is is coming to claim its soul, you know,
Right.
and I mean, if it wasn't for him saying that one line like that, you know, that's like a Clint Eastwood kind of line to me. You know what I mean? He
Right.
saved that whole scene by saying that, you know, and then she did the I don't know what it was. A
I call it
spider.
breakdancing while dying.
Yeah.
I don't like 80s
Yeah.
breakdancing. But you know, but in a sense though, it kind of worked for me on that part, on the way that she killed her,
Mm-hmm.
because I definitely
Yeah.
liked it. But at the same time, it's also kind of comical. And then also too, the whole first
Yeah.
scene with this fat person chasing after the naked fat guy chasing after her, and also too trying to feel the presence from Jessica, which made sense. But why
Yeah.
are you? And she goes, "Well, I don't feel anything. Why don't you feel anything? She's actually the victim. This is the person that was being possessed. Why don't you feel anything when you're supposed to feel something? Why does it have to go towards this other person that doesn't even make any damn sense in the whole entire thing in the first place?"
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know?
yeah, I know. It was kind of like, well, you know, I don't know. You know, in Thor, the last Avengers movie, right?
Yeah, Ragnarok, or was it?
No, the last Avengers movie where he's real big and
Yeah,
he's big and
yeah.
fat. So if anybody has ever wondered what Thor would look like dead naked, go watch this movie. I'm telling you, you'll get an idea.
Well, also too, you also get like a really bad impression of what Danny DeVito would look like if he was naked, which is not
I
good.
know.
This is actually penguin level fat from Batman Returns. That's how
Yeah,
bad it is.
yeah. I
But
mean,
anywho, but then we, after all this happens and everything, we go into the whole entire court thing again. The girl is in love with Arnie. She tells him that she loves him, and then it
sure.
goes into him proving his innocence by demon possession, and then they still sentence him and convict him.
Yeah, for 5 years.
And it's actually
Yeah.
right, 5 years. They get married. While I have to now that's what impressed me.
Yeah, that impressed me 100%. You know, if it wasn't for all of that at the end of the movie, I would have been upset. And I liked in the credits. Did you see the
Mm.
credits where they
You
had
see
the
the
footage of
recordings. Yeah,
recordings and stuff? Yeah.
let me tell you something. I love seeing that at the end of every Conjuring film
Hmm.
because it gives us the history and the background of what the Warrens had to go through and stuff. And then also too, the stuff with Arnie and everything just shows me the love that they had for each other, which that's what impressed me. I'm like, wait a second, this guy might be possessed, but he may not be possessed. You're still gonna stick with him, even though he killed somebody that you loved.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I have to say, I mean, that's pretty impressive back then in the 80s
Hmm.
to actually want to stick with someone that is a 50-50 shot that this person could be
Yeah.
crazy or could not be crazy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
that's true.
don't want to say hashtag relationship goals, but but you know, okay. So as for the ranking of just the Conjuring films, and I was going through this in my head, and I want to see what your rankings are after this. This has nothing to do with the spin-offs. We're not ranking the
Right.
spin-offs, just the
Yeah.
first three Conjuring films. So I'm gonna go with the second Conjuring as my number one. because I like the fact that it was set in London. I loved everything about that film. It was a 2-hour movie. And get this, and let me just also explain this for a minute too. When I saw the runtime at an hour and 52 minutes, it made me kind of scared because of the fact that, okay, this is not going to be a 2.5-hour movie. So what am I in store for? Then I went on ahead and backtracked over to the first film. That wasn't even a 2.5-hour movie.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so there's a 50-50 chance that this movie could be good or it could be bad.
Yep.
So, but if I had to rank them, the second one's going to be there for me. Then the first one, and then this one's going to be dead last.
Right. It ranks number 3, for the third Conjuring.
Right. But what about you though? Where do you rank the 3?
Honestly, I would say number 2, and then because I'm like, I love England. I love that, that whole difference of it. I
also love the plot twist at the end, how it connects over to the first one.
That was so great to me, and I love the first one, and then of course the third. That's
so your ranking is about like mine.
Yours, yeah, exactly. It's the same. Yeah.
Okay, so normally I don't do out of 5s anymore, rank or anything like that, because I don't like the overhype of film, and I like people to experience it for what they are. In this case, though, I'm gonna change it up.
Okay. All right.
I'm just gonna go first. I'm just gonna go with like a 3 out of 5, but then I feel like I'm giving it too much praise for what it is. Because 3 is like is right there at a B, just about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm gonna go at least a 2.5 out of 5.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So since this is a Hollywood studio thing where they had multi-millions of dollars, and yeah, you know what I'm saying. They just let the money rain. I will feel comfortable saying honestly about a 2.
Okay.
I mean, but that's because I was so hyped up about this, and then when I saw it, I was kind of like,
right, exactly. Because here's the thing, the job of a trailer is to reel us in, and that's exactly what it did.
Yeah,
we were sold on the trailer, and I have to own up to this. Warner Brothers didn't cut anything out of this film. It was everything that was in the trailer was in the movie.
Yeah.
So kudos for them for not doing that like they did with Snyder. But it was just such a letdown. I wanted to love this film just as much as the other ones, and it just didn't do it for me. Now, I gave it a 2.5 for the simple reason was I liked the aspects of what happened in the first couple of minutes of the film, and then also some of the other stuff I liked. So it kind of boosted up the score just a little bit, but still not enough for me to actually give it go a lot more fresh with it, like I wanted to.
Yeah, I agree.
That's why.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like if are you familiar with Steak and Shake?
Yeah.
Okay. So Steak and Shake. If for those of you who've never eaten
or Shake and Bake,
or it's like you got hamburgers and shakes, right? Mm-hmm. And if I had to compare this, and they got all kinds of different flavored shakes, that would be my number 5. Top A. Then you just got vanilla. When I watched this movie, I would just take a chocolate and vanilla and mix it together. That's the way it really would be. It'd be tasty, but it ain't.
It's not filling.
This ain't a banana split sundae to me. You know what I mean?
Right. And you see, I would even go further. I would actually say dollar brand, great value salt that you keep on putting on your burger to hope that it gets salty and has that flavor. It doesn't have that flavor.
Yeah, you take a bite and you're like, just give me the salt.
Exactly, man. Yeah. Exactly. But is there anything that? My question for you though, is there anything that you would like to tease for what you're doing or anything like that? or do you want to just keep everything hushed for now? Because I can see it. I can see the wheels turning in your head right now.
I know it's like, all right. So, okay, if you've watched The Conjuring 3, right, and you're wondering what I'm doing, it's not like that, but it's similar. It's going to be similar to The Conjuring 1, 2, and 3. You know, you're going to watch the history that haunts us, and you're going to be like, this kind of reminds me of The Conjuring. But the way this movie is going to be, we are basing it off of. I'm taking urban legends and I'm putting a twist on them. My creative writing twist, and boom, I'm bringing you the history that haunts us. Then the one spoiler I'll give a spoiler for you and all your viewers. When the movie first starts, you will see this movie is inspired by true stories. Inspired.
Okay.
So,
all right.
I'm not saying they're true. I'm just saying they're inspired by true stories.
Exactly. It's like saying, okay, we're not going to sell anything to you. You can donate to us.
Right.
And,
yeah, you know.
But right. But yeah, man. So is there anything else that you wanted to talk about with the Conjuring 3 or anything like that? Or you're pretty much good on everything that you wanted to talk about?
I'm good with it. You know what I mean? I mean, honestly, I'm not going to tell people, don't watch it. It's one of those, if you got time, it's worth a watch. It's one of those movies. You know what I mean? It's going to be
you
like,
know what? Right. And another thing, too, that I want to mention is this. If you're going out there to spend your movie on a ticket and saying, I'm out of quarantine, this is going to be the best damn movie that I'm ever going to see. I get to go ahead and experience a horror movie for the very first time. This is not it. Go check out A Quiet Place 2.
Yeah. Go rent one of my movies off Amazon. At least mine's cheap,
Taki Chan just ended her stream. As a matter of fact, guys, check out Two Blurb Girls on their Twitch as well. That's Tamika and Tamra's podcast and everything. Check them out. They do a bunch of stuff. As a matter of fact, they just did the Conjuring 1 review over there on their side. Ooh. So make sure you go in ahead and check them out and everything. Give them some love and support. Smash that like button, share button, share that with your friends. Let everybody know about Two Blurb Girls. This is a perfect channel just for if you're a woman and love geeking out over comics, movies, and things like that, and want to engage in conversation with other women. I strongly recommend that. Even if you're a man and you want to get a woman's perspective on something, check it out. I promise you guys will be in for a treat. That's on Twitch, and I think that they're actually going to do something on Facebook. They're going to be streaming from Twitch and Facebook from their Facebook page as well. So make sure you go over there and check them out. So, with that being said, where can everybody follow you at, Creighton?
www.thehistorythathaunts.com. And you can search that into Facebook or Twitter. And also, you can type in on Facebook, Creighton Films, and you'll find me.
All right. And everybody, I have some big news to share with you guys. If you guys want to, go ahead, go to bonfire.com/movie lovers unite. Get yourself a Mafia Talks t-shirt. It's only a 7-day campaign. Well, it was a 15-day campaign. We're on day 7 right now, or day 6 right now. So go ahead, get yourself a Mafia Talks t-shirt for $18. Show us some love and support towards us that way. But if you don't want to buy a t-shirt, you don't have to. You can also go on ahead, show us some love just by clicking the like and share button and everything, and that's good enough for us too. Or you guys can go on ahead, donate to us. How do you do that? You just go to www.gofundme.com/Movie Lovers Podcast, and that's how you can show us some love over there. Of course, go on ahead, get an audio podcast of wherever you guys get your podcast from of this episode and many more that we do. Matter of fact, we're on season 2 of the audio side. So I actually crossed over to the 400 marker on the audio side. So
Wow.
within 2 years, I've recorded 400 episodes. So
You've been
another thing
busy.
too is, yes, I
Good
have.
Lord.
I've been pumping it out, man. I'm like auto pumping iron. I'm gonna tell you. But another thing too, guys, is this: for all your entertainment needs, where do you go for entertainment news and everything? Go to movieloversunite.com for all your entertainment
Yeah.
needs and wants. Another thing too is, like I said before, give us a like, give us a share. Go ahead and follow us on Facebook at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite over there underneath the same brand name on Instagram as well as on Pinterest. Another thing too, if you guys want to, go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Movie Lovers Unit over there. And also too, give me some love over on Stereo as well, because we do some stereo shows as well over there. I haven't done one in a while because I've been mainly focused over here, but feel free to do so by going to stereo.com and follow me on Movie Lovers Unit over there. And then, of course, if you guys are a sponsor or anything like that and you want to reach out to me, how do you do that? Just go to email me at movieloversunite@gmail.com. And that's everywhere you guys can follow me at. Don't forget to go ahead, support us over at bonfire.com/Movie Lovers Unite for your if you want to get a t-shirt. It's only good for 7 days, and then the campaign's over with, and then you guys are going to miss out.
Yeah.
So don't be missing out. And I promise you, even Don Corleone can't even refuse the price that we have on that shirt. So, with that being said, forget about it. So, with that being said, guys, like and subscribe. Always until next time. It's been real. It's been fun. I can't wait to do this again. Thank you, Creighton, for being on. And also, Tamara, I'm proud of you guys on what you guys are doing over at Two Blurb Girls and everything over there, over at y'all's podcast and everything. Keep up the great work over there. Always until next time, guys. Bye-bye.